What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to your stimulus check update, stimulus package and infrastructure update and daily news report for Sunday, June 13th. Hopefully you guys had an incredible weekend, but let's get into the update for today. First, recently when a reporter was asking President Biden if he supports a fourth stimulus check, President Biden's response was actually pretty simple. He said he is open to proposals. So that is actually a very good sign that President Biden is not counting out stimulus checks. He's actually open to them, but he says he will only be open to them if Congress is the one that proposes them. So this is where he is pushing all the pressure over on Congress that they need to propose this bill, they need to propose a stimulus check, and then he would consider it. But he's not going to come out and demand it himself. He also stuck by this statement multiple times over the past few weeks, is that he wants Congress to propose what is in these next bills. But here's what you need to understand. Right now, even though the talks are on stimulus checks and on infrastructure and on other things like that, President Biden is sticking by his word and saying, I want Congress to propose this. This is one of the reasons why Congress and many Democrats at this time are extremely upset, because they are saying that he is taking too long to try to find bipartisan support. So because of this, they are actually wanting him to finish this bipartisan talk and just move forward with a budget reconciliation. However, that is where other issues kind of arise. And I'll address that in just a minute. The most interesting news lately that has come out lately is the fact that political analysts are actually saying that if Democrats cannot get this infrastructure bill passed, then they would most likely move forward with a stimulus package itself, which means there would be some infrastructure, be very small. However, it would mostly be social infrastructure. Because economists are saying that right now, to take a $4.1 trillion infrastructure package and push it up even higher to also include stimulus checks and other forms of stimulus, that would actually be hurtful for the Biden administration. So some are saying that that is very unlikely. However, just today, President Biden did get the support of the G7. He did get their support from the other group members as well to provide additional stimulus into the economy. And that's something that many other countries are planning to do as well. So we'll see what happens there. If other countries do it, will President Biden push for a lot more stimulus or maybe just a little bit? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But what I can tell you is that if we see an additional stimulus package, for the simple fact that Democrats cannot pass an infrastructure bill, if we see a stimulus package, according to reports, this will most likely include extending the child tax credit payments for an additional 4 years. This will include free community college. This will include free universal preschool, and this would most likely include a fourth stimulus check. At this time, these are just discussions. We do not know for sure what or if a stimulus check will be included or how much it would even be for. So what we know right now is there's a lot of discussions, a lot of things going on, but again, it's going to take a little bit of time. Now, economists are saying that the benefits behind a fourth stimulus check are not in question. Those are things that we know a stimulus check did a lot of good, not just here in the United States, but in other countries as well. And this is one of the reasons why President Biden has said and touted their benefits and what they have done, not only to the economy, but to the American people. So economists are saying that all the questions currently surround around the bill and how it would be paid for, not regarding the benefits behind it. So currently, lawmakers can't agree on how to pay for a $4.1 trillion infrastructure package. Many cannot agree on how to even pay for a $1 trillion infrastructure bill. So because of this, this is where many are saying that right now, these are where the questions lie. And right now, many question whether or not the infrastructure package would even pass, even if Democrats tried to push this forward through a budget reconciliation. So with no Republican votes at all. So, over the past couple of days, right now, what we are hearing is that the problem that Democrats are facing right now is that they do not want to move forward with the budget reconciliation simply because they don't have the votes yet. That's what we're hearing. That's what we've been hearing over the past couple of days. And according to reports, Democrats don't have the votes by quite a few. It's not just 1 or 2 votes. There are a handful of Democrats within the Senate that will not vote in support of an additional or of an infrastructure package or additional stimulus at this time, simply because they don't have the details, they don't have the pay-fors, they don't have every piece of legislation that is in the bill, or there's no climate change, there's no Medicare, there's no other provisions in there as well. So right now what we're hearing is the talks are just beginning. We are so far away from getting a deal done, and this is why many experts believe, and this is something that I said, even a month ago as well, is if we see an additional stimulus package, it wouldn't happen before the August recess, before Congress goes on recess in August. This is going to happen most likely in September. And I'm going to stand by that. And this is exactly what experts are saying as well. So if you don't believe me, I hope I'm wrong. I hope we see additional stimulus much sooner. I know the American people need it. Problem is, I don't think Congress is going to be in that much of a rush to get this through. So we will see, but hopefully I'm wrong. For the sake of the American people and everybody that needs additional assistance, I hope I'm wrong. Now, here's something else. One of the reasons why Congress cannot agree and why Democrats can't agree on the framing or the framework of the infrastructure package is because there's so much in this next bill, and it is difficult to decide what takes priority over other pieces of legislation. What we know is Senator Bernie Sanders, he wants to see a bunch of different stuff included. He wants to see a boost to the elderly. He wants to see them get additional help because they have been forgotten about for so long. Bernie Sanders says he wants to see an expansion of Medicare. He even took to Twitter and had this to say just the other day. And let me read this quote for you. "We must take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices, and save taxpayers some $600 billion. We can then use those savings to expand Medicare to cover dental, vision, and hearing aids and lower the eligibility age to 60. That is what Bernie Sanders is saying. He is saying let's go to the pharmaceutical industry, let's save our taxpayer dollars there, use that $600 billion in savings, lower the Medicare age, include dental, vision, and hearing. He has a plan. He has a plan behind it. And this is what lawmakers need. They need to know the exact details. They need to know what it's going to cost, the purpose behind it. If they know those things, there's a higher chance of those things passing. So right now, according to a few reports, having an expansion of Medicare is actually considered a priority. This would be big. So we'll see what happens here, but as I know more, I promise I will share more. We also know President Biden made a campaign promise to Social Security recipients, and he said he would provide $200 per month as a boost to all Social Security recipients. However, he has not actually gone through with anything, has not pushed forward with that, and so many lawmakers say that if Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer is going to try to push student loan forgiveness through, which was a campaign promise of President Biden's, then yes, Social Security boost and this Social Security reform must be included as well. Again, we will see what happens, but what I can tell you is that there are many lawmakers that are pushing for fairness. They want to see things are fair, and right now I can tell you they are not fair, because the majority of Congress is pushing for more assistance and relief to children and families. So individuals, people that do not have children that live with them, okay, or that they take care of, they are going to be left out according to the bill right now. So just keep that in mind, but we will see as things kind of progress and move forward. And talking about moving forward, what I want to address right now is that yesterday or last night was the last day of unemployment benefits for the jobless in Alaska, Iowa, Mississippi, and Missouri. Those 4 states. That is going to be a problem. What many experts are saying right now is that this is going to be a short-term disaster. However, And this is where things get a little bit better. They say it should increase the amount of job searches, which would ultimately increase the amount of hiring in those states. And the only issue right now comes from if people are looking for workers that are not technically qualified for that position. They say this would be an issue because if you are not qualified enough and you are going to apply for a position, companies may get 10 or 15 applicants, but only 1 or 2 might have the requirements that the company is looking for. So that would be an issue, is if the jobs available at this time are requiring applicants who have certain certain skills and a certain background, maybe a degree of some sort. This could be an issue, and this could slow hiring down. So we will know more as this kind of plays out, but many experts are a little bit worried as the initial shock of losing your unemployment benefits and trying to go and get a job, that could be too much for many people. But we will see what happens, because again, these are just 4 states that lost their benefits last night. However, there's a whole host of additional states that are losing their benefits over the next couple of weeks. So as we know more there, I promise I'll fill you in on any updates and details that we get. But just understand that experts are looking into this. Congress can't really do a whole lot. The Biden administration, it pretty much has their hands tied. They can't do anything and force governors to pay this benefit. So that's where there's more issues as well. Now, talking about additional issues, the IRS has a whole host of issues. They have a laundry list of issues. The IRS stated that these delays that we're seeing right now are actually being caused by potential fraud and scams. Not actual fraud and scams, potential fraud and scams. The IRS is taking their time processing tax returns because they say it is due to the fact that millions of dollars were stolen through unemployment benefits. And the IRS wants to ensure everybody that is owed a stimulus check will get it. The IRS says that 5.2 million tax returns were flagged last year alone for fraud, and about 1.9 million of those were tagged for identity screening. So here's one thing that you need to understand. This is something that I addressed about a year ago as well, when millions of people were just laid off from their jobs. What happened was the scammers figured out a way they could go and call the states. They can apply for benefits on your behalf for unemployment, and they would take your money. They would simply just take your money. And what happened was, when many people started filing their taxes and started getting these notices from the state saying, hey, we paid you X amount of dollars and we didn't take any income tax from it, that turned into an issue. Now the IRS is trying to figure out, okay, all this identity theft, all this identity fraud, how can we figure this out? How can we make sure that the people that were scammed are not being targeted by the IRS to pay even more money? That's what we're hearing. And this is one of the reasons why the IRS says they are processing their tax returns a little bit slower, due to the fact that they are going through all this potential fraud and scams. So we'll see what happens here. We know the IRS says that the federal income tax returns normally take about 21 days to process. However, lately it seems like all people here in my community, some are waiting much longer. I have a handful of people that are actually waiting months just to get their federal income tax returns. So we'll see, but hopefully the IRS picks things up and gets these checks out the door as quickly as possible, because I know the American people do need their money. Now, here's something big that happened this morning. The G7 is calling out China and demanding answers on the origin of COVID. What we know is that many lawmakers pushed President Biden to demand answers from China, and he didn't essentially do this a couple weeks ago or even last week. Many lawmakers pushed for these answers. However, President Biden pretty much said nothing. Well, the American people want to know. They want to know exactly what's happening. Scientists are curious because China was saying that this was transmitted from bats in China. But yet here in the U.S., when scientists gave COVID to a bat, they actually couldn't transfer it, and many wouldn't actually contract COVID even though it was given to them. So this has many scientists believing that this was just a complete lie. So right now, what they are wanting is that the G7, come out and demand China, give them answers, or at least allow them to investigate and figure out what exactly was the origin. Did it come from China? Was it manufactured in a lab? And all these different questions. We also know former President Donald Trump says if China did cover this up, then the U.S. and other nations should demand China pay at least $10 trillion in reparations. So we'll see what happens, but what I can tell you is the fight over who manufactured this, where did it come from, who covered it up, and why. All these things are going to come out at some point. They always do. So it's really just a question of when we get these answers. So as we know more, I promise I will share more. I just want to thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.